This is the #1 real estate investing strategy for 2023 that anyone can implement. And yes, I mean anyone. With this strategy, you can work pretty hard and make an extra $20,000, $30,000 a year, or you can work extra hard and make an extra $200,000 a year. How much money you make is up to you. Oh yeah, it doesn't require any upfront money, it doesn't require a good credit score, and it does not even require any risk. Now that may sound too good to be true, but it's not. If you do this the right way, you don't need money, credit, or risk. What I'm talking about is wholesaling real estate. And before you move on and think this is just like any other wholesaling YouTube video, you're wrong. I own a company that wholesales over 250 houses a year, and I'm gonna go over some strategies that work for us that specifically work for 2023. I'm gonna give you exactly how to wholesale, walk you through the process that doesn't require any money, credit, or risk, and then I'm gonna give you some tips so you get started today. I have over 2.1 million followers on social media because I give away such quality, tactical, actionable information. But I do have a mentorship with over 1,100 students that own over 200 million in real estate. And for this video specifically, I'm gonna give you some inside tips that I usually reserve just for my students. All right, let's jump right in and talk about how to efficiently and effectively wholesale real estate in 2023. So what is wholesaling? Wholesaling is the strategy used by real estate investors to quickly sell a property for profit without actually owning it. A wholesaler will find an undervalued or distressed property. They will get it under contract to purchase from the home seller. Then the wholesaler will sell or assign that contract to a real estate investor that actually has money. That real estate investor pays the seller what the wholesaler and the seller agreed upon on the contract, and then the wholesaler gets paid a fee for doing so. Now the profit that the wholesaler makes is usually the difference in the agreed upon price with the seller and what they sell it to the end buyer from. It can range from several $100 to several thousands of dollars to $40,000 to $50,000. Our biggest wholesale fee we made is 85 grand. Before we get into the example deal and talk about how to wholesale in 2023 and give you some pointers and tips, if you're still watching this, please hit that like button. I would appreciate it. All right, let's walk through a perfect wholesale deal example so you can understand this a little bit better. Don't get caught up in the nuances of this deal and go down any rabbit holes in your head. Let's just focus on the main picture and the big numbers. You may be wondering, where did we find this distressed property for this example? Don't worry, I'm gonna go over all of that and give you some examples at the end. Let's just keep the surface level so you can understand the concept and understand how you can do it with none of the things I talked about. Let's say you find a distressed property, you're talking to the owner. You get the property under contract to purchase for $150,000. In that real estate investing contract, you have a purchase price of $150,000 and you have a 45-day closing, meaning in 45 days, the seller will get paid $150,000. But as you're going through that contract, you need to have a transparent contingency. Both of those words are key. Transparent, meaning the seller knows about it, is not hidden in the fine print, it is verbally communicated and written communicated with the seller that there is a transparent contingency in the deal. Now, contingencies are completely normal in all real estate deals. Whether it be an investing deal or you're buying your personal house, there are contingencies in contracts. What do contingencies look like? They can be an inspection contingency. If you're buying your personal house, you're probably not crawling up on the roof, you're probably not going in the attic, you're probably not digging around in the basement or the crawl space and looking for mold or looking for termite damage or any issues with the house. You get a property under contract with certain conditions in mind, and then you need inspection contingency to confirm those conditions, or you'll have to renegotiate because you're assuming a certain level of quality when you're buying a property. That works in retail ready houses, but also can work in investment properties. Now, naturally, this property is going to be distressed, but you can still have an inspection contingency telling the seller that you need to get inspectors in the property, confirm a few things, to check the roof, to check a few different things to make sure your rehab budget is accurate. You can also have a financial contingency, and this is the most common contingency in any real estate deal. Whether you're buying your personal home or not, somebody is going to be financing this deal. Very few people pay all cash for deals. So having a financial contingency is extremely normal. A bank will need to approve or underwrite that property if you're buying a retail ready property. But if you're buying investment property, you can say that you need a financial contingency approval from your private lender, your hard money lender, or whoever's lending you the money on the deal. So this is a very normal discussion to have with a seller getting a contingency. Now, I would say shoot for a 10-day contingency, which would mean that in those first 10 days, you have the right to bring people into the property that the seller knows about, whether it be an end buyer, a contractor, whoever it is, get them in the property, preferably somebody that's gonna buy the property from you. And then in that 10 days, if you can sell the property for more than you have it under contract for, you're gonna make a profit. And in those 10 days within that contingency period, you can sell that property to somebody that's gonna actually close on it. So let's say on day 8, you get a buyer of this property for $175,000. the contract is assigned over to them. Now they legally have to close via the contract. And this is another thing. You want to make sure you have a buyer's list and you have buyers that are going to buy the property from you that are able to close and have funding. So now let's flash forward 45 days ahead. At the closing table, the buyer of the property will pay the title company $175,000. And for simple math, they will pay the seller of the property $150,000 and they will pay you $25,000. And all you did was connect the dots. Now, it's usually not that easy. There's a lot of time, energy, and effort that goes into finding that distressed property. And then there's a lot of energy that goes into negotiating with the seller, walking them through the contract, letting them know everything that's going on, bringing in buyers, bringing in different people to look at the property and getting it sold to them and negotiating with them. So there's a lot of work that goes in. But the pot at the end of the rainbow can be a lot of money. Most people I talk to would say around the country, the average wholesale fee is going to be anywhere between $15,000 and $20,000. So you can make a good chunk of money after all that work. Now in this deal, you did not need any money because you're not the one closing on the property. If you're not buying something, you don't need money for it. You didn't need a good credit score or any credit score at all for that matter because you're not going to a lending institution and getting approved for a loan. So no credit needed. And if you execute that transparent contingency properly and communicate with the seller, there is no risk on your part because if you get to day 10 and you haven't sold the property for more than you have it under contract for, you can legally back out of the contract. Now you want to morally be able to back out of that contract by communicating with the seller at the beginning when you get that property under contract and are signing on the dotted line. But throughout those 10 days, make sure you're communicating with the seller and letting them know what's going on. And if it gets to day 7 or 8 and you haven't gotten it sold yet, maybe let the seller know that it doesn't look like it's gonna go through. Now, this may seem like a difficult conversation for you to have with the seller at the beginning to get this whole train rolling, but it's not. I would just tell the sellers that I'm giving you the price that you want. You're happy with this price. I'm helping you out of a sticky situation. Just give me 10 days to make sure I can put this deal through because this is probably a little bit more than I wanted to spend, but I want to take care of you. Just have the conversation with them and be real with them. You'd be surprised at how many people are okay with things like that, because usually they're in a distressed situation and you are helping them out. All right, let's talk about the first few steps that you can start to implement today after watching this video to start to get the train rolling on your wholesaling career. Because no matter what you want to do in real estate, if you want to fix and flip, if you want to buy rental properties, or if you want to wholesale, finding distressed properties and having the arrow in your quiver of being able to wholesale will help you flip more, will help you buy more rentals, and will help you take advantage of properties that you come across that don't work as flips and don't work as rentals, but you can still make money on them. As I mentioned earlier, I have a mentorship with over 1,100 students. I teach them how to buy rental properties without using any of their own money, but I have so many students making an extra $50,000 a year because they come across properties that don't work as rental properties, and rather than let them go to the wayside, they wholesale them for a fee and make some extra money. Step 1 is connecting with your local community. While you're going to be connecting with other real estate investors in your area, you are going to find people that you're going to be able to buy properties and wholesale properties from. You're going to be able to find people that you're going to wholesale properties to. So you're going to be making those connections and talking to the people that you're going to do business with. But until that point, you're going to be making connections that are going to be vital for your future. You're going to find other real estate investors at your local real estate investing meetups. Go to meetup.com or eventbrite.com. You can also find them on your local real estate investing Facebook groups and just generally talk about real estate when you're out and about. So between your meetups and Facebook groups, you're going to start to make connections with the right people and you're going to befriend other real estate investors, and just naturally you're going to start to learn more from them as well as do deals with them. Step 2, start to post about this on social media, whether it be an Instagram story or a Facebook post. Post about investing in real estate and looking for deals or contractors or whatever you're looking for. I recently had one of my students, Casey, post in our private Facebook group. He's buying a 48 unit deal that's going to be seller financed, so none of his own money out of pocket, and it all started with a simple Facebook post. So posting about real estate and your intentions in real estate may not lead to a deal right away, but eventually it probably will lead to a deal. Now, maybe not a 48 package, but probably a connection that will get you your first deal. As you're connecting with people virtually and in person and talking about real estate, make sure that you're always talking about looking for distressed properties. Some of the best resources we buy properties from are insurance agents, real estate agents, mold remediators, contractors, bowling alley owners. you're gonna buy properties from people that are around a lot of people on a daily basis, because life happens. And if you know somebody that knows somebody, that will eventually get back to you, but you have to be talking about it and letting those people know that you're looking for distressed properties. I'm telling you, if you're willing to put the right focus for 10 to 15 hours a month, you can make an extra $20,000 to $50,000 this year wholesaling real estate. It just requires you to roll up your sleeve, make the right connections, work a little bit harder, and eventually you will come across deals, because there are always distressed properties no matter what the economy is doing or the real estate market's doing. If you appreciated all this free advice, make sure to check out the description below for my free training. Hit the subscribe button. See you on the next one.